Special advisor, or let me say Mr. Adesina, rather, when we look at the kind of the circumstances that are playing out in the country, I just want to take one by one. Yeah. Talking about the purported farmers herdsmen clashes. We know that in March, the National Economic Council, the committee on the clashes, submitted a report to the NEC to the effect that there should be the establishment of ranches in the five most affected states. Yes, that's right. Now, with this trip to the Netherlands, we understand that the federal government has struck a deal with a Dutch company to build ranches. Can you give us a bit more insight into what that will entail?
Well, striking a deal may not be the exact word. There's a beginning of conversation. I think that company is called Connection, and the president had been with CEO of Dutch companies, and that company was there. And when it addressed the meeting, it said it was interested in coming into Nigeria to build cattle ranches. So it's the beginning of a discussion that may lead into a deal and a working relationship.
And we've heard of a very tragic situation unfold in Yobe, of course, with the purported overrun of a military base by Boko Haram insurgents loyal to the Musab al-Barnawi faction of Boko Haram. We're hearing hundreds were moved out. We have not really heard conclusively from the authorities on this issue. What can you tell us this morning about what actually transpired and about what government is doing about it?
No, what I can tell you is that there is a statement from the Nigerian army which said it never happened. For a day or two, that story dominated the press, that a military formation was attacked. Some said soldiers were missing in hundreds. Some said out of 11 trucks, only 3 returned to base and all that. But then the army spokesman, Brigadier General Texas Chukwu, came out to say it never happened. That on the contrary, it was Boko Haram that lost 22 men in an encounter with the military.
There seems to be some ambiguity there. The reason why I say so is because that's the account of the military, quite all right. But then when you hear from the Reuters, for example, they're reporting something different. You have other media reporting something different. I just want to be very clear here. If there was an engagement between Boko Haram insurgents and security agents, then clearly there was a clash of some sort. We just don't know what real figures were involved. So how do you address that kind of duality of opinion that's out there?
Yes, for us as Nigerians, Reuters should not be the authoritative voice for us. What we should believe is our own army spokesman, who has come out to say there was an encounter. Boko Haram lost 22 men in that encounter. The Nigerian army had 2 people wounded, an officer and a soldier. That's what the army has come out to say. I would rather believe the army than believe Reuters.
No, you do know that in recent times, I would like to go back again to your last words when you talked about when issues have been politicized. Sometimes, you know, perhaps when people are in government, it's very difficult to know who is politicizing what. But for the ordinary Nigerian, when news of deaths, daily deaths or weekly deaths hit the headlines, a lot of people become worried. And they really wonder, what is government doing? They wonder, are we safe where we are? And these are questions. These are Nigerians who are not politicizing the situations. They're people who probably voted for this government, you know, put it in power and expect it to do the primary duty of government, which is secure lives and property. So how would you respond to those Nigerians if they believe that government is not doing enough or doing as much as it ought to in trying to protect their lives?
That's why we came out with that statement on Monday. The preamble to the statement says a number of people are saying government is not doing enough. And to show that government was doing as much as it could, all those steps that had been taken were listed from January till July. A lot of actions.
They're 2 different things, you know.
No, I'm building up. A lot of actions taken by government. And at the conclusion of that statement, we said, we may not have got there, and we are not there yet in terms of security. These are terrible times for Nigeria vis-a-vis the security situation. But then will we get there? I'm sure we will. I'm sure we will. If only the strident voices of those politicizing the thing will not predominate over what government is doing. And that's why we came out with what government is doing, so that it can rekindle hope.
Some people will say that, you know, what government is doing, if it will rekindle hope, is when we begin to get less reports of people being killed.
Naturally, we want that.
That is basically when people...
No leader will be happy to hear the citizens of his country being killed. No leader. No leader.
Because almost everywhere now we're having,
it's everywhere.
Government having to intervene.
Oh, yes.
Recently, the vice president was in Sokoto. He was also in Katsina flood issue, taking the lives of how many people?
That's a natural disaster.
It's a well, some people would say that could he have been prevented? The rains fell for 2 hours, and that's what happened.
The natural disasters happen all over the world. When anybody loses his life in any circumstance, it's regrettable. Natural disasters do happen. And when such disasters happen, of course, you sympathize and you give assistance.
Oh, I totally understand.
But let's leave natural disasters out of it. But the ones that are criminality...
The argument is whether or not that would actually be classified. Yes, we couldn't have stopped the rains, but could we have channeled the waters of the rain?
Well,
you know, those are questions that people will ask.
They happen
are we
everywhere.
taking proactive measures to ensure that things like this don't happen, especially since we lose lives to flood almost on a yearly basis?
They happen everywhere. Remember, was it Texas last year that was overtaken by floods? It happens everywhere, all over the world. It should not happen. But when it happens and it's a natural thing, what can we do? But we sympathize with anybody that has lost somebody. It should not happen. Okay. But in terms of criminality, then that is what the government can do something about and is doing.
We will have to take a break now. When we come back, we will talk about this recent letter submitted to the National Assembly. Is it request now, or is it a supplementary budget or environment? Talking about INEC's budget. In a moment, please stay with us.